Hello Internet. In this video I will be reviewing a number of multimeter probes. I'm not going to be covering stats like the ratings, and because to me none of that really matters. We're not dealing with hundreds of amps or thousands of volts, though sensitivity is kind of important, but still not critical. This is a very basic multimeter probe that you can buy anywhere. A no name, whatever. Tips are not replaceable, so they are what they are. No gold plating on the tip, and if they were gold plated at the tip, it would be more accurate for reading, more sensitive to the contacts on the boards. But then that tip eventually is going to wear out, and then you'll run into a problem where you need a finer tip to really get into like little tiny places. So this thing is obviously garbage, and we will never use that in our lifetime. Another set of probes that I tried are these. So HTM H2205, whatever. So these meter probes, they're great. There's no complaints about them. However, the tips that they come with are stainless. So, and that's a good thing and it's a bad thing at the same time. So stainless tips, they are harder to break than the, let's say, tips like these, which are made from brass and probably coated with gold. So we'll get to that in just a second. But they're good for fine work, but they are not very good at making a very good contact with the pad. So they're really good for like stabbing, like really stabbing into the part. I haven't had any problems with these other than given the fact that these are stainless steel. The metal is really hard, so if you apply any kind of stress on them, they have a tendency to break, and they usually come with a couple of spares, and these spares are not exactly the same as the ones that are on there. So there's not a whole lot of spares, and you cannot buy spares. You just have to buy the whole kit, which is very unfortunate, and it's a waste of money. So I am currently using these probes because I was sick and tired of getting my tips broken all the time, and so every time they break, I would take them to a grinder, and I would grind them smaller and smaller and smaller to a point of them being practically non-existent, so I can't even use them. So that just got very annoying, and I stopped doing that. The other thing with this particular design is that it is not a banana plug end. So I mean, it is a banana plug on one end, obviously that's going into the multimeter, but there's no banana plug end on this end, so you cannot. So getting any kind of attachments here is going to be very, 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 very problematic, such as if you want to have an alligator clip. There's no way in the world that you can attach this in any meaningful way. You'll have to switch to another probe. So, but I don't do that a lot, so I use these. This is best. The BST05, nice probes. No issues with them whatsoever, with one exception, exact same problem. It's a very high quality probe, very sensitive tip, very nice gold plating all the way. However, and the tips are removable. I'm not sure if you can buy tips separate. Most likely you can, since they are removable. There's gold plating everywhere, which is very nice, which ensures you a very high quality connection point to point. But the banana plug is not gold plated, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of this whole gold plating. Stupid. Anyway, who cares? The bottom line is, if the tip is broken, the tip is broken, and I don't think you can buy a replacement anywhere by itself unless you buy a whole kit, which explains why I have this other, the red probe with a broken tip, and for that reason I no longer use these. They are garbage as well. Now here comes the king of all kings. I think this is like the best and one of the best probes I've ever had. Absolutely versatile. It's called Beyonso. They're kind of on the expensive side, so they probably run anywhere from $20 to $30 depending on when and where you buy them. They come in with a few alligator clips, and basically everything that you see here is what they come with. Let me zoom in so you can see. So a few tips, and actually it does have replacements for tips here, and the whole thing is advertised as the replaceable tips, but the problem is you cannot find these tips anywhere online, so you cannot buy these tips separate. You always have to buy the whole kit, and the other problem with that is that these tips are brass. They're made of brass, so they're soft, they break very easily, and even though, I mean, they're gold plated, so they're making a very good connection with the board and with the part, but they are made of brass, and so they break very easily, and that explains why I had so many of them just kind of ground down, because they break half somewhere in the middle, and then all the other tips are simply too big for me to use. This is a standard multimeter pin, so it's kind of on the big side, so I can't really use it, you know, I mean. So yeah, but it still is the best probe, and the reason why that is because it is completely modular. So you can disconnect this from this, and then the tip obviously comes apart, so you can put in a different tip. Now, a very unusual discovery I made when I was trying to find tips for this thing here, and it turns out that this probe actually uses the same size tips that can go onto here. So, but again, it's nice that I'm able to take these tips and then put it on this handle. But at the same time, I'm running into the exact same problem, whereas once the tip breaks, you're done. There is no replacements available unless you buy the whole kit. And oddly enough, it is not a whole lot cheaper to buy these probes, you know, that comes in a little box with these with the 4 pins, with the 4 replacement tips, than it is to buy this whole kit that comes with 4 usable tips. So it's a dilemma. But on the bright side, this is still the best because it's got the banana plug. So you can do this if you ever want to plug in some kind of an alligator clip. Alligator clip goes on like that. If you wanted a hook or something like a U thingy here, I don't know what this is, works great. If you yeah, there are hooks, and there are all sorts of things. There's this thing, this hook here that you can plug it into here, and then you have a hook. So the application to this is limitless, simply because it uses a banana type of breakdown handle mechanism here. So, but it is very sad, and I'm not the only one who is complaining about the lack of tips that would be available for purchase, because if they were, I would probably buy a whole box of these tips and just stick with these handles. Now, on the other hand, not long ago, while I was using this handle, it does have a weak point here where sometimes the cable would get ripped, but probably using it for about a year or so, quite aggressively, the cable finally snapped. So maybe I'll be a bit more careful next time. Maybe I pulled it too hard by accident. I don't know. I don't think it's a common problem, but it did happen nonetheless. So and it's very unfortunate. So I had to do my research and go buy another set of probes, and I just kind of started getting a little bit exhausted, wasting my money on probes. So now that I've learned that this is still the best go-to probe that is, I will probably stick to this because of how versatile it is. I can quickly disconnect this and make this a completely different system whenever I want. But other than that, the killer for pretty much any probe design, whether it's these probes or the Beyonce probes, is the lack of tips. So I went on Amazon the other day and I ordered myself a bag. So this is the bag that I ordered. And this bag comes with a ton and a half of what you would have thought what you needed. But it is not, because the The size of these tips is not right. It will not fit into here. It's too small. It will not fit into here. They're loose here. They are loose there. So I can't really use them. However, this kit also comes with a 5 color of these needles here. And there's red and black somewhere. And these have a banana plug on them, the female end of it. And so what I can do instead, I can use that with my Beyonce probes. So I just get rid of the handle like this, put that there, and hey, I have a probe that's actually shorter, which is even easier to use. So this is really good. I think the price for these is worth it for one reason, because you have a ton of tips, and these tips, they only fit these banana style holders, tip holders, or whatever you want to call them. I guess after all that research and trial and error, this is going to be my go-to kit. So I'm going to order myself another set of Beyonce probes, and I will be using this box of all these needles that I would otherwise not be able to fit to the Beyonce. But since this bag of needles came with these little banana tip holders, I can use these as a substitute, and I think it's a reasonable workaround. Unless you guys know where in the world can I possibly buy tips that fit into the hole of these Beyonce original handles. So this is probably M3. The pitch. So I think the pitch is like half a millimeter pitch on these. Looks about right. So if you guys know where I can possibly get these tips, a bag of them or a container, shipping container, whatever, let me know, because I'm tired of dealing with these probes. So that would be it for this video. No repair today, just checking out the tips. So let me guys know what you think about this video. Hopefully you've learned something. I will be definitely switching back to Beyonce, and I will be using these since they benefit me in so many ways, making this shorter so it's not getting in the way. So I think it's going to be a good win for me, and hopefully for you as well. So thank you for watching. Have a blessed day, and goodbye.